The island where nails became currency. And it got ugly fast. A sailor tips a pouch into his palm. Nails clink softly, and an islander's expression changes instantly. Not hunger, not curiosity, recognition. Like those little pieces of iron just unlocked a door nobody knew was there. Within hours, word spreads across the ship. Nails aren't tools here. They're currency. And the moment the crew realizes what nails can buy, the entire voyage turns rotten. Fast. Because now, men start stealing from the ship to get more. Rules start bending. Officers start threatening. And the island that seemed like salvation becomes a test of control that the crew is about to fail. The captain thinks it's just appetite and excitement. A few days ashore, some fresh food, a quick refill of water barrels. But a wooden ship isn't forgiving. It's held together by iron, and iron is suddenly vanishing. They've been at sea too long. Salt sores, hard rations, stale water. So when they finally anchor off a lush island, the crew acts like starving men at a feast. Canoes glide out. Smiles, gifts, laughter. The first trades are harmless. Cloth for fruit, beads for pigs. Then, the nails appear again, and everything sharpens. The islanders don't glance at the nails like trinkets. They study them, pass them hand to hand, bite them, test them, then offer far more than a sailor expects. Word spreads faster than any order from the quarterdeck. Iron buys better, faster, quieter. Because iron isn't nice here. It's a shortcut to power. A single nail can become a hook. A hook becomes food. A chisel becomes a tool. A tool becomes status. So the price climbs overnight. On day one nail buys plenty. By day 3, one nail buys disappointment. The island wants longer nails, straighter nails, the ones that actually matter to the ship. And that's when the crew stops taking nails from spare crates and starts taking them from the ship itself. It begins small. A nail from a loose plank, a few from a crate strap, a couple from a rail where nobody looks twice. Men hide them in socks, in hems, in hammocks. They trade in whispers. The carpenter notices first, a rail that shouldn't wobble, fresh pry marks near a hatch, a barrel strap that fails too easily. He checks the fittings and feels his stomach drop. Nails are missing from structure. He brings the warning to the captain, quietly, like handing over a loaded pistol. The captain locks toolboxes, limits shore trips, orders supervised trading only. Food and water, nothing else. He posts watches and threatens punishment. It doesn't stop the bleeding. It just drives it into the dark. Because the island keeps calling, and the crew keeps rationalizing. Just a few. The ship has thousands. For a while, it even feels like the ship can handle it. A few missing nails don't sink a man. A few secret trades don't break an expedition. The crew tells themselves the same lie in 100 different ways. We're fine. And the islanders, watching all of this, learn fast. They start refusing the small nails. They hold them up, shrug, and hand them back like they're insulted. They point to the longer ones, the thick spikes used in braces and fittings. And suddenly, the currency is no longer harmless. It's structural. That's when the sailors begin doing something almost unthinkable. They walk the ship like thieves, tapping boards, feeling where nails sit deep, searching for places they can steal from without anyone noticing. A man loosens a plank and tells himself he'll fix it later. Another pulls nails from a crate holding spare rigging. Because nobody dies today, right? Then, a crate bursts during loading. A coil of rope spills, tangling ankles. A sailor goes down hard and nearly breaks his wrist. An officer shouts, furious, while the carpenter stares at the ruptured strap and the missing fasteners and realizes they're already past little theft. The ship is starting to fail in small, humiliating ways. Exactly how disasters begin. The captain calls the crew together and makes it simple. He holds up a handful of nails and says, "This is the difference between getting home and becoming a rumor." He points at the horizon and reminds them there's no rescue out here, no second ship, no second chance. He orders a search. Men are lined up. Pouches are found. Some are surrendered. Others are hidden better. And for a day or two, it works. Then, the market calls again. That's what greed always says right before reality answers. A Marine catches a sailor at night, crouched with a pry bar. Lantern light hits his face, and he looks less like a criminal than a man drowning. "Just one more," he whispers. "I'll put it back." He's dragged topside. Punishment is public. The captain wants the lesson burned into every mind. But the lesson that spreads isn't stop. It's don't get caught. Soon, whispers turn sour. Men accuse each other. Fights flare in narrow corridors. Officers can't tell who's lying, so they punish whoever they can grab. Resentment thickens until the ship feels split down the center. Then, the sea votes. A squall lashes the anchorage, snapping lines, pitching the ship. Men scramble. Someone hauls a rope hard, and a cleat rips free with a crack that silences everyone. Not because the wind is unstoppable, because something was weakened. For a heartbeat, the captain sees it. This ship isn't just losing nails. It's losing margin. The small safety that keeps storms from turning into funerals. That night, the carpenter crawls inside the hull with a lantern and presses a thumb to a seam. Cold moisture beats through. Tiny, patient, not a flood. A countdown. The captain clamps down. No private trade. No unsupervised shore leave. Inspections. Guards near stores. The crew hates him for it. Because the island feels like freedom. And he's putting it behind locked doors. And now, the ugliest truth appears. This isn't really about nails anymore. It's about who got to profit, who didn't, and who gets blamed. The ship becomes a pressure cooker. One more punishment, and it could turn into mutiny. One more stolen nail, and it could turn into a leak they can't stop. And here comes the reveal that changes the whole story. The islanders weren't tricking the sailors. They were acting like humans who just met a world-changing resource. They wanted iron to build tools, shape wood, make life easier for years. The sailors wanted iron to buy relief for a night. Both sides were making a trade for the future. Except one side was paying with the floorboards under their feet. By dawn, the captain makes the only choice that keeps them alive. They leave. The anchor rises. Canoes follow, still offering, still bargaining, still calling out promises. Sailors lean over the rail like addicts watching the door close. The green mountains shrink into the mist. Out at sea, the ship creaks in places it never used to creak. Little fixes become daily rituals. The crew realizes what they traded away. Not just nails, but confidence. Not just iron, but safety. That's why this story sticks. Because the most dangerous battle wasn't against the island. It was inside the crew. Desire versus survival. Fought in whispers, paid in iron, and answered by the ocean. And the past doesn't disappear when you sail away from it. It follows, quiet, patient, like a sound bouncing back through the dark. History never dies. It just echoes. Subscribe for more.